In Jude verse 9, we find Michael the archangel contending with the devil about the body of Moses. What's the importance and purpose of this event? I have a theory. See what you think. Moses represents the law and those under the Old Covenant. Moses also represents Jesus in a lot of ways, and you can do a quick search to find out about that. But I want to look at only a few points in this study. First, a little backstory. In Exodus chapter 17, the Israelites murmured against Moses because they had no water. So God told Moses to strike the rock at Horeb, and water would come out. This is symbolic of Jesus being stricken for us. Also in Exodus chapter 17, we find Israel in battle with the Amalekites, and Moses' hands are stretched out like a cross, and he sits on a stone or rock. This is also patterned after Jesus the rock and the crucifixion. The Israelites were thirsty and complained, while Jesus on the cross said, "I thirst." Later in Numbers chapter 20 verse 7 through 11, the Israelites were complaining again, and God told Moses to speak to the rock, but Moses struck the rock twice. And God said because he and Aaron didn't believe him, they wouldn't enter the promised land. You see, they lacked faith. In Deuteronomy chapter 32, Moses was told he would not get to enter the promised land, but he would get to see it. Now in Deuteronomy chapter 34, Moses climbs Mount Nebo at 120 years old. Remember, Noah's Ark was allotted 120 years, and then a new beginning, a new creation. Noah was perfect in his generations or genetics, and Moses had perfect health. Moses sees the reward of the people that he had delivered from bondage. He sees the promised land of Abraham. God had promised Abraham seed and land, and according to Hebrews chapter 11 verse 10, Abraham looked for a city whose builder and maker was God, the New Jerusalem. We see in Revelation 21 verse 2, the New Jerusalem is a type of bride, or God's people. Jesus and Moses both went up a mountain and died and were resurrected. You see, Moses represented the Old Covenant saints, looking forward to the cross in faith, while we in the New Covenant of Jesus look back at the cross in faith. It's always been faith and never of works. And if Moses could be raised in Jude verse 9, then all those under the Old Covenant could also be raised. Moses was shown the promised land, and Joshua, which is another name for Jesus, leads us into the promised land by faith. 1 Corinthians 15 verse 17, and if Christ be not raised, your faith is vain. You are yet in your sins. Like Jesus on the cross saying it is finished, I believe Moses also knew his task was finished, and the bride may now enter the promised land.